The site is considered suitable for the placement of nuclear power plants if the following requirements are met. It is possible to ensure the safe operation of nuclear power plants, taking into account processes, phenomena, and factors of natural and man-made origin. The safety of the population and the protection of the environment from radiation effects during normal operation and design accidents are ensured. Radiation exposure is limited. There are cooling ponds or cooling towers are being built. In the construction of nuclear power plants, the main focus is on safety. The structure must be durable, reliable, fireproof, withstand temperature changes, snow and wind loads. Despite the fact that such facilities are being built in regions with low seismic activity, this factor is also taken into account. The high degree of safety of Russian nuclear power plants is based on a variety of factors. These include the principle of self-protection of the reactor plant, the presence of several safety barriers, and multiple duplication of safety channels. Active, requiring human intervention, and the availability of an energy supply source. And passive, not requiring human intervention and the availability of an energy source. Security systems are also used. The safety system of modern Russian nuclear power plants consists of 4 barriers that reliably protect against the spread of ionizing radiation and radioactive substances into the environment. A fuel matrix that prevents the release of fission products under the shell of the fuel element. The shell of the heat-generating element, which prevents the fission products from entering the coolant of the main circulation circuit. The main circulation circuit that prevents the release of fission products under a protective sealed shell. A system of protective hermetic shells that excludes the release of fission products into the environment. In addition, there are special protection systems and protection devices. In particular, one of the elements of the emergency core cooling system are special containers with boric acid designed to cool the core in the event of a maximum design accident, a rupture of the reactor's primary cooling circuit. There are also tools for managing the consequences of beyond design accidents, ensuring the localization of radioactive substances within the containment. These include hydrogen removal systems with passive recombinators, protection of the primary circuit from overpressure, heat removal through steam generators, heat removal from the protective shell, and the melt localization device. The concern carries out a set of internal and external measures confirming the proper implementation of both Russian and international requirements to ensure the safety of nuclear power plants. Integrated and targeted safety checks carried out by departments of the operating organization are an integral part of monitoring the safety status of nuclear power plants. Inspections of nuclear power plants are carried out in accordance with the annual work plan, the schedule of inspections of nuclear power plants, the instructions of the management of the concern, and the Rosatom State Corporation. After the events in Japan that led to the accident at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, the concern analyzed scenarios for the possible development of accidents at Russian nuclear power plants under extreme external influences, with the definition of measures to mitigate the consequences and reduce the impact on the population and the environment in the event of a severe beyond design accident. Nuclear power combines environmental friendliness, high power, and efficiency, provided that it is used correctly. Compared with conventional thermal power plants, nuclear power plants have advantages in fuel costs, which is especially noticeable in those regions where there are difficulties with providing fuel and energy resources, and there is a steady upward trend in the cost of producing and extracting organic fuels. Nuclear power plants do not pollute the environment with substances such as flue gases, ash, wastewater that contain petroleum products. The long-term experience of their operation in various countries confirms that nuclear power plants do not significantly harm the natural environment. And the absence of harmful effects is absolutely independent of the service life of a nuclear power plant. The average operating time of existing nuclear power plants is currently about 30 years. The reliability, safety, and economic efficiency of nuclear power plants are based not only on strict regulation of the NPP operation process, but also on minimizing the impact of nuclear power plants on the environment. The contribution of nuclear power plants to atmospheric air pollution remains negligible in comparison with all sectors of the national economy. The volume of emissions of pollutants into the atmospheric air by nuclear power plants does not exceed the permissible values and is significantly lower than the limits established by environmental authorities. The International Atomic Energy Agency considers an annual dose of 50 millisievert not dangerous to life and health, and according to Russian standards, one of the strictest in the world, the maximum annual dose is 20 millisievert, equivalent to 20 images on old X-ray equipment. The huge staff working at the NPP performs a large number of various jobs, but dose loads are largely excluded. Employees of the administrative sector are not exposed to radiation at all. More than 70% of the total collective dose is taken by workers working on radioactive equipment, but even they do not receive radiation above 20 mesentyvi in total per year. A short list with the advantages of nuclear energy. The huge energy consumption of the fuel used. 1 kilogram of uranium, enriched to 4%, when fully burned, releases energy equivalent to burning about 100 tons of high-quality coal or 60 tons of oil. The possibility of reusing fuel after regeneration. The fissile material, uranium-235, can be used again, unlike organic fuels. Nuclear energy does not contribute to the creation of a greenhouse effect. Every year, nuclear power plants in Europe avoid the emission of 700 million tons of CO2. Russia's existing nuclear power plants annually prevent the release of 210 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Thus, the intensive development of nuclear energy can be considered one of the methods of combating global warming. In order to find out whether it makes sense to build a nuclear power plant in the far north, let's turn to the already existing Kolskaya NPP, the northernmost nuclear power plant in Europe. The Kolskaya nuclear power plant is the first nuclear power plant built in the far north, beyond the Arctic Circle. It has developed technologies for safe operation during the polar day and night, in low air temperature and extreme wind loads. In 2021, the Kolskaya NPP became the best environmentally exemplary organization of the nuclear industry of the Rosatom State Corporation, and by the end of 2022, it took third place in the competition, the best NPP in Russia. Also, for the third year in a row, the NPP receives the title of the best nuclear power plant in Russia in the field of safety culture. Also consider the Bilibinskaya NPP. It is the only nuclear power plant located in the permafrost zone. It generates both electrical and thermal energy for the heating supply of the city of Bilibino. Using all of the above information, I conclude that the use of energy generated by nuclear power plants is possible in the regions of the far north. Using the example of the Kolskaya and Bilibinskaya power plants, it is clear that the climatic conditions of the north will not negatively affect their performance.